Red Dead Revolver was released in 2004 for the original Xbox and PlayStation 2. I have never personally played Red Dead Revolver, but I have played the sequel to it, which is a little niche game called Red Dead Redemption. You may never have heard of it. It was released in 2010 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and is a sequel to this year's Red Dead Redemption 2. Is Red Dead 2 the ultimate in Western criminal life simulation, or is it something to be left behind bars? Let's find out in this week's episode of Kind of Late Reviews. The year is 1899, and we are greeted with some people in the middle of a snowstorm looking like an opening to a Quentin Tarantino film called The Hateful Eight. The caravan group finds some shelter, and soon after we are greeted with our protagonist, Arthur Morgan. After some interesting intro gameplay and tutorials, the game moves you to the first real campground. You find out that you and the gang need some money to disappear and leave this life behind. This is when the game really opens up and you can go anywhere and do anything if you please. You can spend time learning more about the gang. You can go out and fish, hunt, gather plants, gamble, help people, rob people, go see a movie, go see a show, go do chores around the camp, and many other things. The story itself starts off slow, giving you lots of time to get accustomed to the world and learn about the people closest to Arthur. Some of those people, including Dutch Vanderlinde, leader of the gang and father figure to Arthur. There's also the protagonist of Red Dead 1, John Marston, who is basically a brother to Arthur. Aside from them, there are so many other characters. I would spend 10 minutes just talking about them. After you finish chapter 4, the story starts to really pick up. You'll find it flying by much faster, and there's a sense of urgency to make you want to finish the game. Once the game is finished, it transitions into an epilogue that is split into two parts. Talking too much about it here would be a full-blown spoilers, and thus I'll leave it at that. If you want a spoiler-full review of this game, let me know in the comments below, where I can go more in depth into what I liked and didn't like from this game's story. What I do really like is the small details and the feeling like this world is alive. So many random NPCs that you may not do anything really with them, yet they'll remember you as you walk around their town, actions that you have done. Shopkeepers remember you've caused trouble recently in their shop, or if you've not visited in some time. The story will drive you to keep playing as the caravan moves around the map. You'll get to see a bunch of these wonderful locations and meet a lot of interesting characters. When it comes to the art of Red Dead 2, this game is a technical marvel. There's just so much for your eyes to enjoy, from the snow-covered mountains to the alligator-infested swamps and everything in between. Aside from that, the models look wonderful. Characters are all unique looking, animals are distinguished from just seeing them, food looks delicious, and also, to boot, Arthur will eat the food and it'll look like he's actually eating it bite for bite as the food lessens on the plate. There's a lot of moments where I was just riding around on my horse and I would stop and just be awed by the beauty of what is going on in front of me. One of my favorite moments was when I was riding down from the mountains and the sun was rising or setting as I was seeing the scenery transition from snow to lush greens at the bottom of the mountains. The art of this game, even being played with a non-4K textures, is just amazing. Animations are all done well, except for some times during cutscenes where things can look a little bit more like a puppet from time to time. Sound design gets more and more complicated every game, and this game has a wonderful balance. The sounds of the horse neighing to the sound of the gallops are all mixed well and make you feel like you're riding a horse. There's also smaller, lesser sounds to bring the world to life. The sound of your horse farting while it poops sometimes is funny and weird to hear, but it's something you would hear in real life. Sounds of coughing feel genuine. The gun sounds are authentic enough with reloading and shooting. Voice acting is top notch. Roger Clark really sells the voice of Arthur Morgan and brings him to life. From talking to grunts and coughs, all sounding genuine and bringing him more to life. Benjamin Byron Davis came back to voice Dutch Vanderlinde, and hearing him talk will inspire anyone, and you can really set a mood when he talks. Also reprising his role from Red Dead 1 is Robert Allen Wheathoff as John Marston, once again selling his character, and also bringing those of us who played 1 from fond memories. The sounds of animals in nature are also crisp, and the call of a bobcat sends shivers up your spine, while the sound of a grizzly bear running at you will make you want to run the other way.
When I was just a lad,
Rockstar has a lot going on in Red Dead 2. The game plays pretty well in most part, and aside from the controls feeling a little tanky or floaty, it's pretty solid and you'll get used to it pretty quickly. The gameplay is simple to understand. Big markers on the world map show things like missions or stranger missions. Riding around a white dot and the sound of someone calling it for help or guns being fired off will pull your attention to a small little event that can happen at a random throughout the world. The player can choose to ignore those and keep going on with their day, and these things will resolve themselves within seconds. The RPG elements for the health, stamina, and Deadeye meter seem mostly pointless. They will mostly be maxed out for Arthur within a few hours of playing. If you want to slow things down and go fishing, that is in the game. You can fish from a boat or from dry land. You also have legendary fish for the player to find and try and catch them all. Look out, Bass Pro Fishing. This game's gonna blow you out of the water. If you'd rather go hunting, then you can do that as well. Find different animals to bait, track, and kill. There is no shortage of animals to hunt, and a few that will be hunting you. There is also camping while on the road, and you can cook and eat food, make health tonics, or craft ammo, as well as getting to sleep for a few different times of day options. There are various posters in the world. Most of them are wanted posters for bounty hunting. There's also missing person posters, and animal museums to try and complete, which is what I spent a long time trying to finish. But the museum requires some hard to find animals and a perfect 3-star quality pelts. Aside from these, there's also challenges to do that if completed will net you special gear that you can be purchased from the trapper in the world, and will give you a permanent boost to some stats, rising them over their maximum limit from just normal gameplay. In terms of gameplay, there's just so much to do that I could probably make a full episode on just that. I find new things to do even after finishing the game, which always keeps me coming back to play more. So I do have a few issues with this game, even after all the praise I give it. For one, the controls being floaty and tank-like are difficult at first to use and cause a lot of deaths from falling off cliffs or just walking into people, or the horse crashing more than I meant to happen. Talking about the horse, seeing as they're one of the fastest way to get around the map, you would think they would control better than they do. Come across a fence that should clear running at full speed? Well, you better clench your butthole because it's a 50-50 chance of happening. You rock that you should clear, no problem. Nope, you flipped over, now your horse is probably dead. Better go between two trees, the horse will probably steer itself into one of them just to spite you. The horse are the best and worst part of the game for me. I love riding around the country and taking in the sights. I don't use the fast travel system until after I'd finished the main game, yet at the same time the horse will crash all the time and at the worst of times making my blood boil and scream at how much I want to shoot and kill all the horses in the game. Aside from horse issues causing me to have a hoarse voice, I had one weird issue at the very end of the game during the prologue where a cutscene repeated itself and made me confused as to what was happening, like I was stuck in a time loop or something. While I make the horse issue seem bad, it really isn't too bad. You learn what to avoid for the most part, and the game goes with many few flaws for me when playing, which is surprising for such a big game with so many different systems in it. Overall, Red Dead Redemption 2 is an amazing Western game. Love and dedication was put into this game to give the user the best possible experience on modern systems. The load times are short for the most part, the story is great, full of great characters with great voices behind them all. The art is breathtaking at all times. The general fun factor of the game is just there, with plenty of things to do. I did get some hands-on with the multiplayer as well, however I don't really want to touch on that since it's still in beta at the time of this review. So with all that said, I must say that Red Dead 2 is another great game from Rockstar, and the team behind it should be proud of the amount of work they put into this game. With my time spent on Red Dead 2, which was played on the Xbox One, I killed well over 1,000 animals, spent thousands of dollars in game, and played for over 4 days and 14 hours of total playtime so far. If you have not played it by now, do yourself a favor and pick this game up. It is something everyone should experience at least once. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you valuing my opinion of this game. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe for more. Hit that like button, helps out the channel. Share this video with your friends, family, and even your pets. Let me know what you think of Red Dead Redemption 2 in the comments below. I'm already late for my next review. See you then.